All right, welcome back to Fireside Cast. This is RGL Season 17 main. We are in playoffs week. Finally, it's playoff season. We've got Chungoids versus Fantasy Football. Both of these teams are kind of like fantasy foosball. My producer's yelling at me already. Good start to the stream. These teams are both mid-main in playoffs going up against each other, so I think it's a knockout. Joining me is M17. How are we doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Hopefully you're doing well as well. We have Doctor underscore on production, by the way. And in terms of these teams, the fifth seed team was Fantasy Foosball, and Chungoids was the eighth seed team. And like deltamarket said, we're in a losers bracket right now. So whoever loses this match is eliminated from playoffs, and the winner of this match will go on to face the loser of Chief Keef versus Supra TF. So that'll be interesting. And tonight we're playing the maps. Bagel is map 1, Process map 2, and if we need a decider, it's Snakewater. And earlier in the season, it was a 4-3 win on the side of Fantasy Foosball on Bagel. So that's the previous matchup earlier this season. But with that, I guess we'll go over the team shortly.
Yeah, we can go over the teams. I was just going to add one thing. It does look like Fantasy Foosball was 10-6 and Chunkoids were 8-8, but none of that matters because they both lost their first playoffs game, so it's kind of like they're tied. And like you said, they had a close match early in the season. I think I'm going to start by going through Chungoids roster. I have that up. We've got Saf on Pocket Scout, Yaniz on Flank Scout, YNZ, who knows how to say that. We've got Closed on Roamer, Penguin on Pocket Soldier, Maleficent on Demo Man, and Average on Medic.
And then for Fantasy Foosball, we have Salus as the Pocket Scout. Flank Scout is Local Man. Roamer is Danmar. Pocket Soldier is Trumon. Demo is Loeki. And Med is Riley. Definitely recognize a lot of these players who were in IM only a few seasons ago, and a lot of them have moved up since then, but it's not like these players are like that new to the scene. I know all of them have at least a few seasons under their belt, so gonna see some experience. Hopefully, nothing, too wild in terms of, crazy upsets or I mean, like snowballs. Hopefully, it's gonna be a nice close game. I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. They are typing in chat. They've got 12 people in the server. I'm sure they'll be readying up shortly. Oh yeah, and they did. Cool. While I was alt tabbed. Looks like there's some pregame banter. Maybe these players know each other. Maybe we can stir the pot, make up some fake drama. I'm not gonna do that though. On this first mid, I'm gonna be watching demo. Let's watch a demo. I'm on Mal's cam. They got the blood bot killer. They got the swag out. That's always important, of course. No, nothing really happening yet. They're kind of sticking to the upper level meta of not doing anything until the point opens. As I say that, there is a Pocket Scout getting a little adventurous across the point, taking down the demo on the side of Loki down to like 53 health there. That kind of won them the point. Saf, really aggressive on point, seems to have paid off. Here they are again, blocking the point. And actually the Uber situation, I'm surprised by it. It's like 90% for average. Maybe that'll come into play. Riley has not done a good job building the Uber here, and that might be something noticeable. We do see the side of blue playing really passive though, and almost letting the cap go down, but they do manage to get a frag onto Salus, and they finally black the point again. So I'm kind of worried here. Red team, they gotta figure out how to cap this point, as I need to figure out the team names so I don't call them by their colors anymore.
Yeah, here comes the aggressive Uber from Chungoids on the south. There's an immediate counter Uber for the side of Fantasy Foosball. Mr. Lucky's doing a little bit of a jump, but no kills go down except, as I say, that Salus gets a kill onto Maleficent. That's a demo dead, and that's going to allow them to secure their point, although Close is behind. We'll see what she's able to do. Just dancing around. I think they know because Trumon's spot right now, but is pretty low, have to back up. Yeah, on that first mid was really interesting because Riley got hurt really early, which allowed Close Mengen is on shotgun, and I think that's Danmar on black box. As keep going on here, both are about even Ubers.
Yeah, they are. We do have foosball on the red team and Chungoids on blue. Salis doing a great job denying Ben as he tries to jump in, gets taken down, Benguin down, closed down. This is all the foosball's chance here to take the point back, which they are doing, and they're actually getting aggressive right now. They want to take their player out and do something with it as they bully these players. They actually do find a frag onto this scout here going down. That means that there's going to be a chance to do a forward hold, which they are taking. Here we see Chungoids breaking out of this left side, and it looks like they managed to somehow get through for not a lot of a fight put up by Fantasy Foosball. Not sure why. They might have been able to get something there, but here they are playing passive, maybe wanting to block the point with their Uber. So far, they're blocking it without popping. Want to play very passive. They don't want to use their Uber. As I say that, they run right ahead, decide to pop. The trades are going down. They almost took down Mal. Chungoids have to be really careful with their demo on low health as they chase across the point and at the house at the same time. Closed. Really good distraction to let the point go down, but it didn't find a frag, and they lost their life for it. So Fantasy Foosball are going to play really aggressive here, running across the points, and they get it back.
Yeah, and now Ben's taking a fight with Damar in this house, but the black box will prevail against the shotgun. It's about a 40-second time advantage on the side of Fantasy Foosball, though there's a bit of fighting in the other house now, but while that happens, Chungoids just takes the point right back from them. Damar has a lot of control of this other house, though, and that's able to delay a lot, and that just gives allows Fantasy Foosball to just take the point right on back. And there's just going to be a continuous back and forth, something we see on Bagel a lot. Big sticky sink from Luecki, but it's not going to get much damage here. Although there's a bit of damage on Maleficent, actually, but I think she's going to be able to be fine. Big double bomb from the soldiers. Close dies, but gets the force for it, and everybody else gets out. And actually, Average doesn't have, but he barely gets right in the nick of time. And here comes an aggressive counter use. YNZ gets 1 kill, and Fantasy Foosball just completely dips, although Bengu doesn't realize that Danmar is still in and lives on 10 HP. Danmar is still alive. Luecki is low, but somehow gets saved by his teammates. And now, even though there's a point in the favor of Chuds, they're going to have to fight this back because Foosball has all the health right now.
They do have all the health, and they also have all the cap time, and the points, and the time advantage, and the Uber ad and the health ad. Everything is on Fantasy Foosball's side as they try to secure this round, and they're probably going to try to block this point. They're not going to let Chungoids cap it for free. Fantasy Foosball doing a really good job also controlling the houses in a lot of these fights. You always see, when you look at the health of the Chungoid soldiers, they're always hurt. The Chungoid soldiers are really trying to fight over those houses, and they're not being allowed to gain any space. We see the Uber coming across point as Mal and Closed and Saf are taken down off of this Uber. You hold the Uber at your own peril. Chungoids held the Uber, but what did they get for it? They got nothing. We see a pocket soldier on shotgun. That's shout out. That I think it's actually pretty good on this map. I actually ran it back in like RGL Season 3 on this map, or maybe like Season 7 actually, if I'm misremembering. I don't think this was in the full in Season 3, but Chungoids are using the Uber across point, just bombing their demo in. But, you know, who cares about Uber when you can't get a frag with it? So Chungoids kind of showing why it's a bad idea to sometimes hold that Uber. That Uber did nothing for them, basically. It just got them the points. And now we're going to see Uber ad again on the side of Foosball as they try to hold this Uber. They don't want to die to this 4-man sat coming in. Loki goes down. Maybe there was an air shot or something as M17 gaps in my ear. Trumon gets piped down.
That was a pretty crazy double collapse. Everyone on Fantasy Foosball was just way too aggressive on the right side, and then the soldiers of Chungoids were recognizing it. But actually, when that first Uber came in from Fantasy Foosball, Average did not have, so he had to kite back, and it looked pretty scary for them. Here comes the aggressive Uber from Fantasy Foosball. Danmark gets a kill onto Benguin. A very aggressive bomb from Luecki. Not going to get anything, and then is actually just going to go down. Very aggressive, but Danmark with a nice med pick from behind. It's just a huge chaotic fight. The frags are going in the way of Fantasy Foosball, and they're going to win this first round. The older team, I would say, would get the first round because if I remember correctly, Fantasy Foosball a couple of seasons ago, I think it's season 14, they got second in IM, and then that's most of this core, and then most of Chungoids is a team that I believe got 5th, 6th, 2 seasons ago, I believe, in IM.
So the old players versus the up-and-comers in main, and so far it's Foosballs coming out ahead. still see the black, but is that a pyro? Yes, we have a pyro apparently go down one round, tilt pyro, or maybe it's a strat. It's probably a strat, just making a joke. Close does go down to the soldier in right house. That's really not the start the fantasy foosball. That's the start fantasy foosball wanted, not Chungoids. But actually, local man goes down. Soldier bombing in just takes down Loki for free. This pyro causing chaos with the flare gun, maybe enough to make the side of fantasy foosball back up and go down. We see them re-aggressing fantasy foosball on point with their player ad, getting a lot of cap time off, but it looks like the Uber wants to be used by Chungoids. They're posturing very aggressively as the Uber comes out, single scout Uber into the side of Chungoids. Scout, of course, countering that pyro there pretty effectively. See the fight continuing to go on, and it's interesting to note that Chungoids, they dropped a scout for pyro, so they really have to kind of do a lot of work because a scout so important on this map, and there it is, pyro just down, soldiers bombing in. Ben trying to make something happen, goes down instantly though. The cap does come out for the side of Chungoids, but they're getting bombed. Their medic is so aggressive, getting caught out. Fantasy foosball, they have no mercy, they show no quarter. They sensed the opportunity was theirs when that pyro went down, and they went straight in.
Yeah, big collapse there. There's a lot of fights going in on these houses, and I think that's what's really helping out on the side of fantasy foosball. They're doing shells with their pocket soldier and their flank scout local man, and then Danmar has like a lot of control with this black box in the left house, which is normally reserved for your pocket soldier. But Maleficent goes really aggressive. It looks like it's an attempted 4-person sack, but I think it's very miscoordinated. Penguin's finally going in, gets some damage, but dies. Danmar's kind of low, so YNZ is going to get 1 kill and stay alive behind, so that could cause some potential chaos here, but right now she's just all the way at spawn. Still a 20% Uber disad, somehow Close gets in right at the last second and gets the force onto Riley, and YNZ is still behind, so I wonder if... I'm sure they know, but I don't know if anything crazy is happening. It looks like both Salus and Danmar are looking for YNZ. They did find her behind, and Danmar just instantly gets the 2 rocket, and that's 1 kill there. But there's a full Uber ad on the side of Chungoids, and they're only about 20-30 seconds down on time.
They are only 20-30 seconds down, and they are quickly capping that point up. They're getting bombed by a soldier, though. I believe that's Truman who hit that shot, and there's a scout coming through the lower left side of that house. No one's watching house. Where are the house watchers? They got the medic forced because of that. Unfortunately for average, Chung here, now they have the point, but they're down now. It went from 20 seconds to like almost a minute down on the clock, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and Uber disad, the situation is so much worse. Not only are they at Uber disad, but they're not even at the point. They're just giving up the cap for free, basically, here. Chungoids, something really went wrong. Something went awry. Tripshy goes down as well, closed as well. Chungoids bleeding players now, and just lost the point.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think Close is going for a lot of bombs. I guess it makes sense because he's a T6 jumper, wall pogo extraordinaire, but it's very interesting because it allows a lot of pressure on the right house, and Fantasy Foosball is making good use of that. Although in their last 4 hold, they didn't hold down the left side with enough soldier pressure, and they don't do it again. They just let Chungoids get through for practically free. Another bomb from Close gets out. Maleficent gets a kill onto Pocket Scout of Salus there for Fantasy Foosball, but it's about a minute time ad, so this isn't as good for them as you might think. Danmar get a kill onto Penguin, Close gets a kill onto Chumron, YNZ gets a kill onto Danmar, and here's the aggressive Uber, but Average is milking this very hard, and it looks like Riley might get caught here. A big jungle. Close comes in for the bomb and cleans up Riley. That's going to be huge for Chungoids, and they're going to have to make sure they protect Average, who is very low, but nobody's behind. They get the cap, all 6 up. Everybody's going to get healthy, and I'm assuming they're going to set up a forward hold here.
Yeah, they are probably going to set up a forward hold. I do see them. I wonder if Foosball is going to have as easy of a time breaking out as Chungoids was. Last time we saw a forward hold, it was Foosball who basically gave it up immediately. But as our producers said, yeah, we do have a spy, a Frenchman, on probably the Cloak and Dagger, but we do see the breakout happening. The decloak happened, it was spotted. They decloaked in front of the soldier, but the soldier didn't react to it at all. Mal just goes down. I'm pretty sure Ben or whoever that soldier is closed, I'm pretty sure they saw the decloak and unfortunately weren't able to react to it in time. Their demo man has fallen, the demo man is down, but actually Riley, I don't know if you saw, but Riley went down, not sure how. We do see a 4-man sack or whatever amount of players is up happening. Everyone just running forward to the side of Foosballs, and it's working out well for them. Who needs the medic?
Yeah, that was a Close getting in with another bomb, which was the kill onto Riley. Danmar gets that kill onto Close. Full Uber ad on the side of Chungoids, but also Riley has swapped onto crit since there's not much time left, hoping to get that crits quickly. Danmar gets a kill in the left house onto Penguin, has total left house control. Here comes the aggressive Uber from the side of Chungoids. They're going to try to get some kills, but smartly for Fantasy Foosball, they just back their way up. And, excuse me, Riley is already on 90% crits. We should expect that soon. Salus gets a kill onto Saf early. Maleficent gets a trade kill onto Local Man. But we should be expecting that crits any second. Here's the crits. Loeki gets a pipe kill onto Maleficent. The scatter shots come out. Salus gets a kill onto Maleficent. And, onto YNZ. Low players on both sides. Average tries to suicide to get the point, but that is the second round in favor of Fantasy Foosball. And I do want to mention this was Fantasy Foosball's map pick, I think?
It might have been. Either way, they are just seeming like the more dominant team here. It just seems like in a lot of these fights, it's just like, it feels like it's a 5v6 really, really commonly, with Chungoids just losing a player to something, not sure what. Maybe it's a flank fight. Maybe we should watch a flank fight on the mid. I'm going to be on Ben's cam here. Maybe there'll be some aggression in this left house. So far, just spamming rockets. And there it is. We see the aggression coming in. This was the cam to watch. That's what Foosball's doing, the two-man pressure. And they've taken over this house completely. No one's supporting this left house. Now this Pocket Soldier's down to low health. The medic's down, and the points being capped. Looks like Chungoids wanted to back... Fantasy Foosball wanted to back up, but they just got mulched. Close got in. Got so much damage off. And, yeah, Foosball, they crumbled there.
Oh, my goodness. Riley... was that Riley? Yeah, that was Riley who got a cross-map arrow kill onto Average, the other medic. Unbelievable. But it did end up being even Ubers. And this was actually because of some map veto delays and stuff. This was actually Chungoid's pick, so this is not looking good for them on their own pick. But they do at least have the point for now. They're going to try to defend it, although it looked like Average caught a pipe. YNZ gets a kill with the flank shove into house, but does get traded out by Danmar. But he did leave that house. Penguin's going aggressive now. Just a lot of pressure from both teams. Very low sap, 3 HP, does get picked up by Danmar again. Bunch of kills coming in from him. He's going to refight that left house again. Penguin does get that bow, so he's going to be safe, but 2 scouts down, so Chungoids has to give it up. And Fantasy Foosball is going to slowly start working time off the clock, but it's going to be even Ubers here, so I'm assuming Chungoids is going to be fighting very shortly, especially since their scouts have already arrived.
They have arrived, and here they are fighting over the point as Average eats some damage, a lot of damage, almost ate a Sicky Stink as well. Very scary pop here on the Chungoids medic, eating spam as well. Foosball's doing a really good job spamming the medic, but I feel like if they were calling their damage, they would know that that medic was super hurt and could have bombed off of it. Again, Average just eats so much damage here. Fantasy Foosball really could take advantage of this. 17 health off the spam is crazy. Salus defending the tower. Danmar, Black Box, showing up, gets that frag. Ben down as well. I think that was in the left house where everything kind of just crumbled again. Tripshy and Ben down. Salus across point takes down Sap. And somehow, the Uber, it's getting held, and they're just going to have to run away. Fortunately, they didn't get forced, but on the other side, as I say that, players go down for Fantasy Foosball. I'm not sure how, but suddenly, Local Man and True Man down. Chungoids coming back in, capping up the point. The Ubers are being exchanged on point. Demo versus Scout Uber, but Fantasy Foosball not able to find anything. They're just backing up, letting their Scout kind of fight in the post-fight. Here we have the soldiers bombing forward, and they find Saf kind of caught out on those soldier bombs. So Fantasy Foosball, anytime they lose the point, it seems like they just take it right back.
Yeah, a lot of fights still going on here. Close with another bomb. Gets arrowed. Airshot by Riley. My goodness. Bomb from Danmar trying to cut off the exit of Average, but he is alone. The rest of Fantasy Foosball is a little slow, so Average is safe for now. Still a fight, but it's a one-player ad on the side of Fantasy Foosball, but they're so low. Maleficent actually gets up long-range pipe onto Loeki. That's a huge kill for them, and they're going to almost retake point, although Local Man comes in at the last second to try to protect it. Saf does get the kill and eventually the point, and they have a big time ad now. They did get the point back, even though they're only down 30 seconds on that time, but just like that, there's a few kills that go by, and then Chungoids retake this, and that's going to pretty much even this out because there's going to be even Ubers, even players, and that little time ad is going to be kind of neutralized by them having to break by Fantasy Foosball having to break that forward hold. But yeah, there was a left shove in that earlier fight, and Danmar delayed for so long that he pretty much won the 1v2, which is absolutely absurd. Here comes a huge bomb from Danmar behind. Gets in onto Average with a nice rocket, Average with a nice serve. Maleficent gets 2 kills on the attempted 4-person sack, and Danmar gets the drop onto Average. Huge play there from Danmar, so much impact. And that's going to, even though there's a time advantage there, there's a big Uberat, and Fantasy Foosball is going to be pushing out shortly. And they'll probably have to wait for their soldier spawns as Close and YNZ are hiding in this main door right here. Penguin is trying to distract. They're not really going for anything. Actually, they do end up doing a flank shove onto Truman and get that kill. As Penguin goes down, the huge flank shove. Tons of kills, Saf. And Close went for, or combined in for a bunch of kills and ended up getting the kill onto Riley. And now it's just Saf fighting Salas. And Saf somehow, she wins that fight and she's still alive at 4 HP, and she gets the kill onto Lueki too. That's absolutely absurd. And that's gonna, honestly, that's gonna make this a lot easier for Chungoids to win this round.
Yeah, it is going to make it so much easier. Local man here, though, for the side of Foosball is going to try to do whatever they can to stop that, trying to cap the point, but they are getting denied by that soldier who is still on the shotgun up top. Shotgun switching, actually, maybe an MGE fan over here on the side of Bagel. However, the cap does finally get closed in. Fantasy Foosball, they have to hold this with everything they have. They can't let this one go basically at all, or it's going to get really bad for them. It already is bad, though. Here we have the soldiers coming in close. Looks like they want to start it off for the side of Chungoids as they get on point on the high ground, spamming over, and it's going to be these scouts for the side of Foosball putting up the fight, but they go down. Soldiers are bombing in. Again, it's Closed who gets in behind. Keep an eye on that as we have the Ubers getting traded, but Mal gets maybe dropped or maybe intentionally not Ubered on, because here is a much better Uber coming forward by Chungoids. Everyone is getting cleaned up by this Uber. Looks like Foosball, they know they have to stand on the point, but there's Ubered players on the point. How are you going to stand on point in that case? You're just going to lose everyone, which is kind of what's happening here. But actually, Foosball is putting up a really good fight. Somehow this Uber was not enough. They take the point back.
Yeah, it looked really sketchy because at first, Fantasy Foosball, they got 3 players low to give the, to let, Chungoids get the point, but they did an aggressive Uber while, Average was still like only a few percent away, but they didn't get any of those kills that could have secured them the fight. And then it looked like they were just going to get destroyed by the counter Uber, but somehow they just lived for a long time. It's now still overtime on the side of Chungoids, so this is actually not that bad, although as I say that, Saf goes down to Lueki's stickies. Danmar has complete control over this left house. Big double bomb. They do get the kill onto Riley, and with that bomb, they're just going to walk forward, and Chungoids takes that first round. A lot of bomb action on the side of Chungoids. Interesting.
It is. I'm just kind of in awe at how that round went. It seemed like there was that really good collapse for Chungoids that kind of just won them it. They get their soldier behind, especially on that mid fight, and then everyone just goes down for Foosball. So Foosball, they have to get that under control. They can't let that soldier keep getting behind, or it's just gonna take so much time off the clock for them. This time, why not? I don't think I've been on the close cam very much. I'm gonna be on that cam. I'm expecting a bomb, maybe. Foosball does seem like they're capping the point, but there has to be some sort of flank play coming in. Here it is, jumping forward, finding these rockets on these players in house, but it's actually Foosball who repels the assault in house, taking down Closed. Salas is traded out for it. Chungoids almost have capped the point up, but their health looks terrible. Mal is on like 30 health here. Everyone's getting arrowed. Ben's on 50 health, dead now, gone down, gotten fragged. Truman finding a mini air shot onto Saf. So that's going to be Fantasy Foosball taking this one back after losing that round.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth fight there. The house shove from Chungoids wasn't successful, and I do want to point this out. I took a quick peek at the mid-round logs, and Danmar is absolutely farming on that black box, top of the server right now in damage. Here comes the push out from the side of Chungoids. Saf gets a kill onto Local Man, who is trying to get out in that attempted forward hold. Not a very successful set of forward holds here for Fantasy Foosball, and that's working well for Chungoids, even though they're down around. Saf's already trying to pressure a lot of spam from both Danmar and Lueki, but it doesn't actually get much damage. Closed is pretty low in that right house, but nobody else is really low. Although, as I say that, finally Lueki gets a kill onto Saf, who is getting so much pressure on that cap. A lot of spam going down. This is just taking so long for Chungoids that Fantasy Foosball is drawing so much time off the clock. Both teams have Uber. You might expect an aggressive Uber here shortly, but this is really good for Fantasy Foosball. They just keep delaying time off the clock. They've managed to get a full minute time advantage here. Danmar's still just chipping away, keeping the players in that his respective house that he needs to hold you know, preoccupied. Big aggression here from Penguin with Saf going in from behind, and that's a force. Saf does get out, but Closed also goes down. That's 2 down. Here comes a counter Uber from Chungoids, but this is going to be very scary. Salus is behind, and now Chungoids are down 3 with a behind scout. They have to be careful, leave quickly, but they do get caught. Salus with a nice contain, cashing off the enemy med, and that's just a huge kill, and this is really, really good for Fantasy Foosball. Penguin gets 1 kill onto Danmar, but it's just a consolation. He's going to go down, and it's a 35% Uber out on the side of Fantasy Foosball, and they might even have they'll set some stickies up, not a forward hold, but almost a 2-minute time advantage here.
Yeah, 2-minute time advantage. I mean, how do you come back from that? It starts with a point cap. Let's see if they can get it, and they do. They do take down Loki as well. That's demoed down. Getting really aggressive is the side of Chungoids. It looks like they just want to get whatever they can, but they weren't only able to get 3. They weren't able to get the medic, unfortunately. Getting that medic frag would have been really good for them, because now it looks like Chungoids wants to forward hold, but it's always just a little bit scary when the other team has Uber. Gonna have to see if Foosball can use this Uber to get a lot of frags, or if they just get through without using, but they do pop instantly. They're trying to do a demo bomb, which they are currently sending their demo over. What do they find? They find Trip Shy. Can they find Mal? We have the scout chasing. Salem finds Mal. So this forward hold got punished a bit. You know, they could have lost more, though, so it could have been worse. Chungoids, though, they do have Uber ad. They looks like they want to use it from their positioning. They're really aggressive here on patio, but they kind of get baited. Closed goes down. Hard to take Uber when you're down a player, so Chungoids is in that really unfortunate situation. Do they let the time keep ticking down? Do they just go in with their Uber? And it looks like they're deciding to just go in. They're sitting on point, maybe trying to bait the other side. Either way, they're going to get this cap down and have their Uber advantage. And it's a 4-man sack by Foosball. They're sending their demo in, who's doing so much damage to the medic, and the force happens. I was surprised by that. I didn't see any of the soldiers go in for Foosball. Somehow the force was kind of enough with just the demo.
Yeah, I think Average got a little scared of getting piped, even though he was absolutely demolishing Loeki in terms of dodging the damage. It looks like they're going to not be able to set up any good forward hold here, because they were just down 2 players, which allows Fantasy Foosball to just work their way out slowly. Their flank was already out for, you know, the past like 5 seconds, but the rest of the combo is going to work their way out. The scouts on Chungoids very aggressive right now as the Uber comes out, and Average is very caught, gets killed, but Saf gets 2 kills in the backlines, and here's going to be a collapse fight. Penguin with the bomb, doing a ton of damage here. The scouts are going to try to clean this up, and the rest of the players on Chungoids really want to clean this up, but I think the kills are just going in favor of Fantasy Foosball. It's 3-on-2. Riley for Fantasy Foosball is still alive, and he's able to pump out those heals, and that's going to mean that this fight went the way in Fantasy Foosball. And although Chungoids did get wear down a bit of that time advantage, about a minute of that 2-minute advantage is gone, it's still a minute disadvantage, and you know they have only 20 seconds to work with.
They do, and with that, who is going to take the points? Who's going to make the space happen? Looks like we have a soldier going behind. T6 jumper. Ben actually closes his T6 jumper, but Ben does get in behind, gets a frag. Both these soldiers, they kind of made some space, but then they just go down, and now it's player advantage for Foosball. What are they doing with their player ad? They're swarming the point. They're swarming the houses. Danmar in this right house, jumping forward, causing so much chaos. Somehow Average got left alone in the left house, jumped out, went down. Unfortunate for them. I guess everyone for Chungoids knew they had to get on points, and they just went for it. What else could they do? But looks like it wasn't enough. It's going to be Foosball taking 3 rounds. What can stop them?
It's really interesting because Chungoids has a lot of like really good bombs happening. Like Close is getting a lot of impact. Like there's just like so many bombs where they're getting a lot of impact. But then in these, like, besides the planned bomb plays, it looks like there's just a lot of isolated players. Like one time after an Uber had happened, Chungoids had they had all backed out to left, and Close, who was just isolated on the right, so Fantasy Foosball took the free kill. But they gotta improve that. They're down 3-1 here, and Sap is back on the detonator pyro. Let's see what she's able to get with it. So far, it's just a bit of spam from both teams. Nobody's too committal to anything, although a few low players here on the side of Chungoids. Close just goes in with a nice bomb and takes out Riley, and here comes the all-in from Fantasy Foosball, but Saf on the pyro was able to deny. But with that being said, Danmar comes in, gets the spoon, and it's going to turn into a big close fight, or a big just all-in fight. Low players on the side of Fantasy Foosball, but just too many of them, and Fantasy Foosball ends up winning that fight. But nobody went back for Riley, so I think the Ubers are about even, although even though there's even Ubers, excuse me, Riley has swapped onto crits, so that's a 25% advantage right there, and we'll see how they intend to use that.
And it looks like they're going to be having that Pyro go down. Saf is down. Not the start the side Chungoids wanted. That is kind of have to keep an eye on it. There's a chance there's a funny reflect. Pretty unlikely, but there is a chance of that. Put it in the frag bit if it happens, but the Uber out down instantly. Absolute destruction. Loki goes down, but I mean, foosball, they showed up to fight. They wanted to fight, and they're getting it.
Completely unexpected. Both Average and Maleficent were together on the concrete. Loeki just gets the crits and just gets two instantly. Completely worth it, especially killing the medic on Koth is honestly even more important than on 5 CP. But we're going to get back into a big fight here. Close does a right house shove and does get the kill onto Trumon, but she's still in there, so Locoman just comes back in, gets the cleanup kill. 5v5 fight happening here around the point. Locoman very low, but everybody else on both teams is decently healthy, although as I say that, some spam still being traded out. Excuse me, Chungoids did manage to get their point, managed to cap a point finally, first time in this round. So they have like a minute 20-second time advantage. The re-crits comes in, but Saf is completely ready. Absolutely destroys Loeki, but Salas still has the rest of the crits. Penguin did go behind on the black box now, trying to copy the Danmar tech, and got that kill from behind. Danmar does get the kill onto Penguin, showing the true black box user. Big collapse here on the side of, excuse me, Fantasy Foosball trying to get the kill onto Average, which they do finagle. Close gets a nice spoon onto Local Man. Local Man was on a 6k, but she'll clean that. But Close will clean that 6k right up. Sav is trying to get some cap time back because there's enough dead players on the side of Fantasy Foosball. Or just trying to prevent the cap, excuse me, because Fantasy Foosball did not have the point, but they do manage to get it back. They have about a 30-second time advantage, and they have about a 40% Uber advantage, and they are back on stock.
They are on stock, but we do see Danmar on black box still. That player has not gone to stock. Point situation, minute time advantage for foosball, and Mal just goes down every time this man tries to get on the point. He just gets driven by holding a soldier, a scout. This time it was a scout through left house. Chungoids, they can't catch a break here. It looks like they want to send a sack off of their demo going down, almost getting Loki, but the scout, I believe that was Saf, backed away from that frag. Actually, it was trip shy, unfortunately, so they don't get that frag, and Average goes down off of this Uber that came through the right house. Everyone's getting cleaned up. Foosball, they're so aggressive. They're so aggressive. It doesn't matter if they're on crits. It doesn't matter if they're on stock. They're just going to take their Uber straight into their face, and they're doing it so well.
Yeah, it's really looking not as, it's really looking dire here for Chungoids on this first map. They're down almost a minute. They're going to be down a minute once they get through, and they're down 20% Uber out, and they have to get to this forward hold. Although they haven't had that much trouble getting to the forward hold. Well, as I say, that Saf goes down to the traps. Loeki gets a second kill, this time onto Close. Locoman is dancing around, does get picked off by Penguin on that black box, but losing 2 is going to really delay everything because it's really tough to get win a fight when you're down a player already. YNZ does go down to stickies from Milwaukee. Bunch of impactful kills here, and it's going to be incredibly difficult for Chungoids to win this. They do have the faster spawn since they don't have point, but they're now down over a minute and a half on this round timer. Only 10 seconds left. They have to be able to do something. Close gets a kill onto Salas. Danmar gets a kill back onto Closed. Loeki gets a kill onto Saf. 99% Uber. Average just gets in the nick of time, although they have lost 3 people, and Riley did use earlier, but this is looking really bad for Chungoids. They did cap overtime for, for Fantasy Foosball, and everyone on Chungoids just drops after they're trying to defend the point, and that's the first map in favor of Chungoids, in favor of Fantasy Foosball, 4-1.
We do see that coming in. Foosball, they have to be feeling good about this. I'm just checking back at their seeds. Fantasy Foosball was 10-6 compared to 8-6 by Chungoids. So, that regular season advantage kind of showing itself here.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm gonna take a look at these logs here. Let me refresh. Oh my goodness! But let me see if I can refresh these, see what's going on. Yeah, Danmar was absolutely nuking on that map, and Lucky was starting to turn it around at the end. Not too many drops, but one thing that's important to note: average with 13 deaths, and that's the other medic, Riley, only with 7, and that's a big deal, especially on COP, But just in general, more med deaths just mean less time where you can have heals. Besides that, there's nothing crazy to note, but I think Maleficent is really getting destroyed by all this spam, or was getting destroyed by all the spam in the houses, because she was not having a good time on demo, as we're going to go into the second map here, which is Process.
It is going to be processed, so it is going to be a definite change of pace. Felt like foosball, from what we saw, I don't know much about them, but on that game, they just seemed so aggressive, which is kind of interesting because, the side of Chungoids, they were also aggressive, but they were really only aggressive with their soldiers. It felt like foosball was more, they weren't going for those super flashy plays. They just kind of went as a team, maybe go through the flank, maybe go through the point all at once. But it seemed to pay off a lot, but that's kind of something that's going to be a lot harder to do on process. So maybe Chungoids will have a better opportunity here. Maybe their soldiers will be able to get away with more. There's kind of easier to get behind on this map than it is on Bagel. Kind of easier to work off your soldiers and not have 6 players run through one door. That's not really going to happen on this map when it might happen on Bagel.
Yeah, I know. I think this is going to be a little bit better for, at least it should be a little bit better for Chungoids, even though Bagel was one of their picks because they have, closed T6 jumper. I think their jumps just have been overall, I mean, we can expect it, but the jumps or the bombs on the side of Chungoids were definitely better. So I think that's going to be a little bit easier for them to work with on process as opposed to Bagel, where it's very closed in and it can be very difficult to work with. Danmar, I don't think will be back on that black box because from what I remember, he only runs it on Koth. So I have a feeling he'll be right back on the either stock or original. Curious to see what other loadout changes or anything like that. I don't know if we'll see any more Saf Pyro, which we were seeing quite a bit of. I'm expecting we're going to see probably some sniper here. I would assume. I don't know who's going to go sniper. It might be Y and Z for Chungoids. Then I don't know who would go sniper on fantasy foosball. Maybe local main, maybe sales. Not 100% sure. But I'm curious to see if there's any crazy just like more permanent class change or off classes, or if it's just going to be very standard throughout this map.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see the pyro come out. That honestly kind of surprised me that they even ran that in Bagel. Maybe they just didn't know what to do, so they were just like, let's just go pyro to see what happens. Oh yeah, we also saw spy. Maybe we'll see that, but yeah, I don't like expect sniper to mid or something like that. I don't think we're gonna see anything like that. Which I cast. What was I casting? I was casting Poland remotely, the Poland LAN, and they did run sniper at mid. The Europeans do that more off course. Um, I I want to see the bombs. That's what I want to see on mid. I'm gonna watch soldiers on the first mid when that happens because I want to see. I want to see the soldier bombs. That's the sense I get. It's a vibe thought.
Yeah. Interestingly, I'm just taking a look at the previous matchups for Process. Fantasy Foosball lost 1-5 in their only Process match against the top seeded team, and Chungways lost 2-3 against the team that was seeded one higher than them. So maybe this match will be a little bit more even, I would assume. I'm not sure who's going to win it, obviously. I honestly am hoping for a third map. Of course, it's always fun to get 3 maps, but never know what's going to happen. Maybe the pressure, or just the losing one map can definitely, especially your own map, can definitely be a bit disheartening. I would say you want to avoid making sure. Don't let anything. Don't let yourself get in your own head, right? Making sure you can clear your head and stay focused and get back onto the map too, because you do still have to win these next 2 maps. Because if you lose even one more map in this series, if you lose just one of the 2 maps, you are completely eliminated from playoffs.
Yeah, they would be eliminated. Definitely not the result either of these teams want, but it is going to be the result for one of them, no doubt. What to talk about, of course. There's teams, maybe they're stratting, maybe they're taking a break, got the playoffs itch. I know I've been in playoffs before, so sometimes just gotta talk it out
Don't
over the
forget to
halftime, not the halftime, the map transition.
don't forget to
Although it
check out
does,
that Fireside merch.
oh yeah, Fireside merch. Do you have that pulled up?
Yeah, I think I linked it in the chat, but it just exclamation point merchant chat. Anyway, sorry about that.
Yeah, always got to shill. No, I understand. Part of the program. We do have amazing merch over at Fireside Cast. We even have TF2 team featured merch. So if there's an invite team you really like, you can buy something for them, hoodies, stuff like that. It's all amazing. But we are live, saving us from our mindless banter here. As on this mid, I'm going to be watching closed. We do see the fast rollout. Who is it going to be landed on? Is it being Market Gardener? No, it's just going to land on the demo. I believe that first rocket did miss. Unfortunately, not going to be finding the demo frag here. Either way, both teams playing a little passive, not doing a whole lot. Who's going to be the first soldier to jump? I don't know. I'm predicting it's, oh, we see it actually. It's Trumon high bombing over, landing onto the high ground, onto the scout, trying to hit whatever rockets they can. Unfortunately, it hits nothing. Other soldier bombed it, is closed, and Ben trying to land on the map. How much damage do they land? Riley down to 5 HP, but the frag is not closed out. There's no scout pistoling across the map, unfortunately.
Yeah, very unfortunate. I think she was trying to go for an even better bomb, but I think both Penguin and Closed had some weird issues with the bomb. I think Closed had a little bit of a lag issue, unfortunately. I saw the ping spike, which always sucks, and especially in a playoffs match. But YNZ is going to grab a first kill onto Salus, which I think is going to cancel the pressure from Fantasy Foosball, especially with 2 low players. We might see a counter sack here. It looks like, by the way, Penguin is off that shotgun, back onto gunboats, and I don't see any, off class or any off expected weapons, no black boxes here. But I think, yeah, Chungoids did not decide to counter sack, but Salus has swapped onto sniper for Fantasy Foosball. We'll see where he elects to take his sniper rifle. Looks like it's already going into sewer, but I think Penguin spotted him very early, which is going to help Chungoids. Let's see. Actually, maybe they didn't, because Average is still in Average is not in the worst spot ever, but you want to be very careful. You don't want to let your med take free sniper sightlines, and Salus just charges up a body shot and kills Average. Huge drop there for Fantasy Foosball. Bangwood already going in through choke, but he's alone. He's trying to get behind. He does actually manage to get the pack, and he's still in. Closed goes in for another bomb. Sap gets a kill into Trumon, but there's a big collapse here on the side of Chungoids. They do eventually get the force, but they're losing almost everybody for it. YNZ goes down, and now it's just Saf who is hiding in sewer, and Average who just respawned on last. This is going to be very difficult for the side of Chungoids. But, oh my goodness, Saf is actually going to get the kill because they left Salus on Sniper as the only one capping, and that's going to save Chungoids. Oh my god, Saf is in on Riley. They leave Riley alone, and Saf gets that kill too. Nice air shot from Danmar, that was Danmar onto, was that Danmar? I guess it was Danmar onto, I think it was Penguin. I lost it, but nice air shot. There's a 20% Uber but they're actually down 3, so Fantasy Foosball just takes this fight right on in. Trumon close trade, but I think with the spawners, it's just gonna force Fantasy Foosball to back up.
Yeah, it is gonna force them to back up all the way to the second choke as they build this Uber. If the side of Chungoids decides to go, they might not find that their Uber ad is big, but they are not pushing. They have an engineer. We all know what that means. It is a stock heavy minigun. They are switching off of that though. I want to see how Foosballs decides to approach this. If they 2-man, if they 3-man, if they single sack, maybe for an off class, maybe run a player all the way back to their spawn to switch to sniper. Could see any of these options happen, or they could just like have their medic kill bind. Any of this could happen. Want to see which option is taken, and it's going to be actually the side of the defenders, Chungoids, who decides first. They want to go sniper. The pick class is up. Danmar does go down to an Iron Bomber shot, and there goes Truman, 2-man sack. Effective, perfectly effective 2-man sack. Not at all, not what Foosball wanted here. Chungoids are actually pushing really aggressively, and their sniper finds another frag. Foosball, no, this is not what they wanted. This is a disaster. They have a spy. Maybe the spy is a good thing at this point, but Salis gets headshot. Saf, apparently they're a good sniper because they haven't missed. They hit another headshot. That's like the 5th headshot.
Yeah, Danmar, I think, honestly, might be looking for this spy kill. Loeki gets a... Here comes Danmar with the disguise, and they don't know it gets the drop backstab onto average. That's huge. Still a few fights going on here, though. Salis very low, gets healed up. Penguin does get caught out in the shutter, but that backstab is huge. And even though they were getting so much space with Saf, it's just not enough. Danmar was walking in and pistoling Maleficent, but they catch on Maleficent. She was very caught, and it's a full Uber ad on the side of Fantasy Foosball. And they're still down a demo. This is very, very bad for Chungoids. Saf does die early, which could suck, but they did get the early force, which might help. But being down a demo on your own last is very bad. Close does get an insta-spoon. That's going to help them out a lot. Danmar gets a backstab onto the YNZ heavy, and it looks like even with all that, it's a very even fight. Although, as I said, that Maleficent gets bombed. Never mind. That's just a first round one for Fantasy Foosball. The Danmar spy coming in clutch. Honestly, doing just as much in theory as the Saf sniper, but just more impactful kills, which really helped them secure that round.
It did help them secure the round, and secured it is 0-1 on the board. The Foosballs, they led off on Bagel, they're leading off on Process. M17, why don't you take a mid? Who's the player? Who's the player?
I'm watching close. She's going in for a bomb. Actually, she just decided she's going to go into sewer. She's drawn 2 people back, and while that's happening, she's going to get picked. But Bangu goes in for a kill, does get a nice shot onto Riley. A counter bomb from Danmar trying to get that med kill. Here comes the all-in. Loeki's bombing in. Average doing some nice surfs, but unfortunately surfs into the scout, which that hit scan is going to help. And even though it's 3-on-3 here, this is going to be, I think it's going to be, I was going to say it's a little bit better for Fantasy Foosball because they have 2 high health scouts, but one of the, Chungoid scouts got a big pack. They got some nice damage, and this is ultimately going to go in their favor as Saf is going to pistol down the last player, and that's a mid-win for Chungoids, exactly what they want. Saf is doing a lot of damage, getting a lot of kills right now. It is a 25% Uber out on the side of Fantasy Foosball. I think Salis considered sniper and then decided not to, and it's still not going to even. There was no forwards for any faster respawns, but I think that's not going to end up mattering. But the building was not that good for Fantasy Foosball, so they only have a 10% Uber ad now.
That is what they have, 10% Uber advantage. Are they going to go off of it? I don't know. Ben is high bombing in, though, wants to go behind. Actually, this spot is undefended, so we got a player behind. On the other side, Closed has gone in. Ben is going in. Can they find the rocket? They find one. Medic down. That's going to be the side of Chungus, taking their destiny into their own hands on a dry fight into second. Who's seen that? What is this, 2012? And it works, too. Even crazier. Average pops. Uber apparently felt threatened enough to pop. Maybe someone said to use the Uber, but they basically only get 1 kill with that. So this went from maybe winning a round to now even Uber, but actually Average is getting collapsed on by Danmar and Salis, who goes down. How has this gone so wrong? All of these players just pushed out and feasted on Chungoids. Foosball, they're not giving this one up.
Yeah, that was a really good initial play from Chungoids because they had Bangun go behind, closed it like 140 to the medic, and Bangun was just able to come in, get the kill, and with the distraction, Maleficent got a second kill, which allowed the dry fight. But then Fantasy Foosball decided we're just going to push 3 people through the enemy IT, and they got a big flank, eventually got to sewer, and then there was a big collapse fight. Here comes the dry fight from Fantasy Foosball. No Uber, but I think Chungoids just didn't have the players set up, so they're going to have to back up. Close gets a kill on Local Man, who's trying to get aggressive early, but nothing's going to happen there. Chungoids doesn't really want to press the issue, because they're already down about 40% Uber at 45% even. They are going to get a gun up. Maybe it's in time. It's going to be very close to call. Actually, I don't think they're going to get their gun up in time. YMZ just resubbed. Here comes the aggressive Uber from Fantasy Foosball.
It is, and they have so much cap time. My game froze for just a second, but here I'm back. We do see the cap almost go off, but at the end of it, Average has Uber at Danmar and Riley are running away. Danmar actually maybe going for a high bomb. Oh no, they're going for the little corner clipping. I believe they call that wall bugging, as the T6 jumpers call it. And they are spotted? Yeah, they have to jump away. You know, could have seen a funny moment. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Cap did not go down, but we do see, yep, Salus on Sniper, as the producer yells at me again. We have this player up who... We saw Sap last time. Sap never missed a headshot, basically. Let's see if Salus... You know, they both start with S as on their name, so maybe... A Sniper starts with S too? Maybe we're onto something here. Uber has come out. Salus shooting at the Uber players. That's not going to work, unfortunately. That point is basically freely had at the cost of the Uber, and they didn't get a frag, and now with this Uber in the side of foosballs, they're going to be taking it in through this choke side as they have their scout, leading it into the quickie bomb traps, who debts on that scout. Soldiers are in for the side of foosball. Every projectile class has jumped through. Is Chungus going to fight? They are here to play. They've sent it back in through choke off of their scouts, and look at this, the scouts are feasting. Closed found a frag onto Salus. Closed chases the medic down Riley before they can leap through choke, and look at this, foosball, they get punished for going for that.
Yeah, that was really huge. When you have a sniper, one of your scouts already on sniper, and then your other scout goes down before the Uber happens. Oh, big bomb actually from Lewecki, but he does just get cleaned up by Maleficent, and they decide to back up, but that just led to a big collapse from close behind. Trumon gets a nice 2 rocket onto Saf, and that I think is going to cancel their push for now, but their Chungoids is just going to wait for Saf to respawn because they have a nice big 60% Uber ad. There's already an NG spawning up. They could have potentially decided to push this, but because they don't have Uber, I think they're just going to wait, even though they had a demo dead. But it definitely makes sense because, you know, not having Uber is very tough to push into last with. Yeah, I'm not... Okay, it looks like they are just working their way into last. I don't know what Penguin's doing there, but anyways, they're just clearing out traps, being very methodical. Here comes the Uber in, through the 4-door, quickly kills the gun. Danmar is pretty caught here on the right side. He is going to maybe get killed. He actually he somehow gets out, and Lewecki got a kill into YNZ, and that's pretty much going to mean this push is almost doomed to fail. Close bombs into the heavy. The local man is 450, and all the kills go in the favor of Fantasy Foosball, and Average is potentially caught out here. Saf is trying to sack her life to get her medic out. Saf is doing a lot of damage, but Average does not get out fast enough and is going to get cleaned up by Salus. YNZ did try to run into the last second, but it's not going to be enough. And Fantasy Foosball has an Uber out, but they do just decide we're going to back it up. And they're going to be pushing in shortly with their Uber out, but they'll have to deal with Penguin in forwards on the sniper, even though their Chungoids is down a medic.
Yeah, they are down that medic, but they do have a forward spawner in sniper, a forward spawner player who spawned in there on sniper, who has not found anything, but Close does get that force off, that great bomb. That's going to be that Uber. I feel like these Ubers this game have just not been impactful. The teams have done a really good job either kiting the Ubers or just getting the force off. But here we see Foosballs going in off of the 5v6, sending all their soldiers in, trying to find this medic. Airshot missed. Average staying alive. But Foosball, they're staying in a little bit more. Now they're finally running away. Down 2. I want to see if Foosball tries to fight or if they just run. It looks like they're having their scouts sit on high ground. They don't want to completely give it up, but as these players, Chungoids, come in, Foosball not going to fight that. Maybe if they get their soldier spawners, maybe they'll do something, but I kind of doubt it at this point.
Yeah, I think I actually did want to mention something. I forgot something. I'm pretty sure Danmar is also like a T6 jumper, but he just was using Black Box so much that I totally forgot that he doesn't use it as much as I think Close integrates it into her gameplay or her game style. Local Man gets a kill onto bombing Close. Penguin gets a kill onto the demo, but Local Man, excuse me, trades that kill out. So it's now it's a 5v4 for the favor of Fantasy Foosball. They're gonna work their way in, even down to demo. There's a bit of resistance here, but only one explosive class is going to mean this is pretty hard to hold down all the doors because Maleficent, you know, even if you are a demo, you can't hold down all the doors by yourself most of the time. Soldiers for Fantasy Foosball get a lot of height, but it honestly has just turned into another mid-fight with both teams having Uber here. Saf going pretty aggressive, trying to get some kills. There's an aggressive Uber exchange happening here. Salus gets absolutely launched, but does just get launched into Penguin behind. YNZ gets the kill onto Lewecki. YNZ still behind, and Danmar goes for a bomb, gets juggled by Saf. Closed and Trumon doing a bit of fighting on top of the crates. Local gets that kill onto YNZ, and so it's 4v4 now. But I think the height and the health is favoring, Chungoids here. Saf gets 2 kills here, closes very low. She jumps off and dies with fall damage. But the fight ultimately goes in favor of Chungoids, and it looks like they are just going to push their way in. They do have about a 20-25% Uber, but with the players, they're just going to push their way in since it's just, Lewecki and Riley for now on second.
Yeah, they are on second, and we do see the Engineer and Sniper up. That's going to be the Foosball's defensive setup. And, oh no, they got off Sniper as soon as I said that, of course. So it's just going to be the NG. Everything else is cookie cutter. I want to see what this Uber does. I don't know how much information they have about the Ubers. Maybe they think it's bigger ad, but, you know, they're on second point. I doubt they actually think it's big ad. So, what do we think we're going to see here? I think we're going to see a 2-man, or at least an attempt, but it's actually Danmark who just goes behind. How can you let this happen? How can you let the defending team on last just get a soldier behind? That's has to be tightened up. You can't keep letting that happen. This is playoffs. Soldier behind is now just buying time, basically. Players are going back, and they actually let him bomb through choke. He got a rocket on the medic. He just goes down. Bought so much time, but what is going to happen now? We're going to see some sort of aggression in lobby. Chungoids have taken lobby over. They're sending their scout through 5. They see the sentry gun Saf down to 50 health. Who's going to spam the gun down? It's the soldiers trying, and Mal actually takes it down with the lock and load so easily. That is going to be a prime opportunity for something to happen, but instead Ben just walks in and goes down. Closed walks in as well and goes down, and if Bao goes down, these teams look really uncomfortable when they get to second point. These teams do not look comfortable breaking the last holds, and Chungoids smashed their head into that wall, and now they're back on mid.
Yeah, definitely a tough hold to break there on process, especially with the gun, because there was even Ubers. They tried to get something, didn't work out, and Salus had already got the gun back up, even though Maleficent killed it pretty quickly. Even just a level 1 can be pretty impactful. Saf eats a 110 rocket and is going to be cleaned up by Local Man, and since there's just too many spawners on the side of Chunkoids, they're going to back their way out and try to hold here on second. They are down a player. Their health, hopefully for them, should be okay. Closed is in IT. Fade Bomb here from Chumon isn't really going to go for anything too aggressive. Danmar goes in for a Fade Bomb as well. Close does get a kill into Chumon as these Ubers are being exchanged. The Uber was used definitely earlier for Fantasy Foosball, and Riley gets juggled in, and Danmar cleans up, Maleficent cleans that up. Danmar did get 1 kill, but Maleficent gets 2 more kills on escaping players. Lewecki might be caught in here. That's killed as well. Maleficent going huge right now. And they're just going to walk their way into second with their big player ad. There is a med spawner. Riley did get forwards, but just too many players on the side of Chunkoids, and Fantasy Foosball has no choice but to back up on their own last, and they're down to 30% Uber ad here, which will mean that we'll see a push in here with that Uber ad from Chunkoids very shortly.
Yeah, Uber ad, what are they going to do? Hopefully they counted right. Hopefully they know it's Uber. I want to see them in lobby. I want to see them going to the door already. You know, don't want any of this time to get wasted. And right now, I kind of get the feeling they're going to go into lobby, but they could have already been in here. Now they're going to be popping it with like a 12% Uber ad. 12% ad is not ad unless you're already on the medic. And here they are chasing a soldier in heaven who is doing a great job. Trumon doing such an amazing job distracting there. That entire Uber was spent chasing a soldier, and now the Uber is on the side of Chungoids who are in their enemy's team heaven. Average is down. Ben is down. The players are so hurt on the side of Chungoids. They're trying to get in through lobby, but how? How can you?
Saf is still alive in heaven, but they definitely know, and she's just going to finally get picked off. That is a late death, very long respawn, 18 seconds, which means I think that's what Fantasy Foosball is going to use to work their way out. That, along with the other players who finally respawned. Bangwood does decide to go in for a bomb, but just decides better of it, just fades away. Close tried to look what she could get, but ended up fading and then just going right back in, but not getting any damage. Maleficent got very low, trying to pressure off of that closed bomb. Is going to get saved, but there's not really any traps here set up on mid, and that's going to allow Damar to create a lot of space, although 4 people on the side of Fantasy Foosball walking through IT, and there's no soldier in position to really stuff them, so they just walk all the way in for free, and Chungoids just has to leave all the way to second. And they're still at 20% uber disad. A big bomb from Moeki, but Maleficent gets out just in time. Trumon does get a kill onto Bangwin. YNZ is still in, and Closed is still in IT. She gets a kill onto Danmar, but she'll be probably dying shortly. Yep, goes down to Local Main, who is on a 6k. I think, yeah, Fantasy Foosball is going to try to retake this, but they have to be careful because they should know they're on Uber Disad. It's about a 70% Uber Disad, although the longer and longer that Chungoids takes to actually work their way out here, that Uber Disad is going to go away. Initially, they might have potentially been staying, but they should know they're at Uberad. They do know they're going to be bringing their combo into lobby. We'll see what they elect to do here with this Uber.
Yeah, lower lobby is the play, and they're going to elect to get in for
Demo Spy!
Spy, yeah, I just saw that in the corner of my eye. Mal down, that's Demo Man down. Foosball going to try to go in, but we see the Seagull bomb from Ben. Unfortunately, it's not a 3k, only a 1k, but that's not bad, you know, getting the Demo. Basically, Demo traded for Soldier on both teams is kind of what happened here. Now the fight's on point. Uber is way worse for Chungoids. Riley, 99%, finally gets that Uber just in time as we see the Soldier close bombing in, getting that forced on to the medic of Foosballs. Soldier bombing forward, but this Uber, I didn't really find anything. I'm worried about Trumon. He's just alone on point against 2 scouts. We all know how that's going to end. Even if you're on Spire, it's not badly on Spire. Even if you were, you're just going to die to those scouts anyway. You're going to fall to those players on the hit scan. We see Chungoids going into mid, taking it over with so much aggression, so much speed. Are they going to be able to deny Trumon? I don't think so, but if they did, they could keep pushing. Yeah, it's just a little too slow to deny that Soldier, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's just going to turn into an even Uber situation here. Right now, Saf is building up that Uber, and of course, Salos is doing the same for his team. It's going to be even Ubers, but we're going to see some sort of attempt at aggression, or maybe some sacrifice play. Something's going to have to happen for Chungoids because they want to break through here. Remember, there's only 9 minutes, 20 seconds left, and then we go into the continuous overtime on process. Aggressive from Saf, gets a ton of damage, trying to get a kill into a demo, but does eventually die. Bomb from Bangwin, but doesn't get anything. Loeki gets both those kills with pipes, and that's going to mean 2 down on the side of Chungoids. They might try to take an aggressive exchange here with YNZ. Looks like that's what they're postured to do. Local Man doing a bunch of chipping. Gonna get closed very low. Here comes the aggressive Uber from the side of actually Fantasy Foosball, and Chungoids did counter use. They used a little bit later, but being down 2 means it's going to be a lot tougher for them to win this fight. Average might get caught in here. He's very low, is going to get out. So is the scout, who's going to get bowed. Nice job surviving on the side of Chungoids, and they even exchanged Uber, so that's going to delay even more time. But that means even less time for them to like even the score before this continuous overtime. But in reality, they don't really need to actually do anything too crazy if they don't need to, because all they need to do is just get 1 more round than the enemy team once that continuous overtime starts. But we're in another even Uber situation, but on the other team's second now.
They are on their second. Both teams building Uber. We are 8 minutes away from continuous overtime, and we have only seen 1 round, as both of these teams just have really struggled to push last. I believe the only last cap we saw didn't happen because of anything that happened on last. I think it was like a second roll into capping the point. Either way, here we have Foosballs coming in through the trash side of the map, that side door on sewer, and we see Danmar going in doing so much damage onto Mal, but not able to find the frag. Loki down to 62, not boding well for Foosballs. They have to back up as we see the counter bomb come in through choke closed, gets that force off, gets that bomb perfectly timed as Riley was leaving through sewer, and now that Uber was not used properly to get the force off, so it's going to be the side court is on the side of Chungoids as they're going through this process choke. As I rolled over all of my words incorrectly, we do see them get through without getting forced, and it looks like Chungoids doesn't really have a soldier in position to do anything. Chungoids doesn't seem comfortable forcing this Uber, but they do find a frag. Maybe now they'll go for something. They do. They send their soldier in on the high ground, missing their rockets. Unfortunately, is Danmar. Had a good opportunity to get that force, but it didn't quite work out. But now we see another soldier bombing in. They get the force, but we see a 4-man sack, and it's not Bagel anymore. It's on process, and we see a 4-man sack. I did not expect that, to be honest with you. However, we're going to see the demo and the medic surviving on last. Maybe going to see them try to push onto second, but that's kind of a risky proposition.
Yeah, Loecki with a ton of confidence, able to get Riley out, and I think they are actually working their way onto second pretty quickly, even without the spawners. Oh my goodness, a very aggressive Uber just from Salus. He's gonna get the quick kill into average and back Riley right back out, although there's a big collapse waiting, although as I say that, there's just no soldiers really in position. Huge damage from close, not able to get any kills. YZ gets the kill onto Locoman being healed. Saf comes in at the last second, they get that kill. Now it's 2 scouts coming in. Danmar is up on soldier. They do get the early kill, but Danmar has a long fight ahead of him, and he does not win it. YZ cleans it up, gets the cap, and it is 1-1 on this second map here. This was Fantasy Foosball's pick here, so Chungoids bringing it back, and all they need to do is, you know, win this map, and then so that they can get onto the third, so they don't get eliminated. Easier said than done.
Yeah, that is what they want to do. Of course, no one wants to be eliminated. This mid, we do see nothing crazy going on, just normal rollouts. It looks like Mal tried actually on the quickie bomber still. Who's going to be the first to aggress? Who it is? We see the high bombs coming in for Truman, trying to land on this point, missing a shot onto that scout. However, it's actually going to be Riley who surfs a sticky or something into the air and goes down. So that's going to be medic down for Foosballs. Mal takes down one with the lock and load. It looks like Foosballs, they kind of tried to do a little bit of a rotational mid, but their medic got caught out. And with that, it's going to be a chance for Chungoids to not only keep the score tied, but maybe take the score lead.
Yeah, YNZ got really aggressive on the crates with the double counter bomb from the soldiers, and even though Riley hit a really nice surf, YNZ just hit a clean insta-meat shot and just absolutely sniped Riley out of the air. Now we're on a last hold here, but it is going to be a big Uber ad for Chungoids. They're going to try to use this to get something. We have a sniper, Localman just very passive in his own spawn, trying to go for that headshot. Salus on that level 2 gun at spawn. The sniper is spotted, and Chungoids has finally taken control of lobby, just doing it very thoroughly. Looks like they decided to go through 3. Here comes the aggressive Uber. They kill Riley very quickly. Interesting decision here. And now they're going to have to just take their time. They're trying to slowly spam down that gun. They have the left side control, but Maleficent, very aggressive, gets caught out. And that's another kill. Saf goes down close, gets denied by the heavy. Penguin does get a bomb and gets some damage, but Loecki and Truman clean that up. Penguin is the only one left alive in heaven. Truman cleans him up, and that's a full wipe for Chungoids. Maleficent is the first one to spawn, but we will see Fantasy Foosball retake that midpoint. They'll probably have about like a 30% Uber ad here, which they'll probably use to work their way into mid shortly.
Yeah, they are going to do whatever they can to get into mid with that Uber, although, you know, that ad, if they take it too long, if they are too slow with it, we're going to see what goes wrong. But actually, they're taking it early. They see that the foosball players are, or the Chungoids players are really passive. I thought they were actually going to push the moment they saw that. I would have at least. I think they could have gotten in, but they're going to be delaying it. They're only going in now. And it looks like they have a lot of space taken, but their soldiers are taking so much damage, and they decide to pop for some reason. There's nothing here. That was probably a miscommunication. It seems like this Uber was never going to succeed. However, they're continuing to push. They're going into second. They do just have Danmar doing so much damage, and hey, the air shot comes out. Foosball, the aggression pays off somehow with that demo frag. Average is now back on last with Uber. Maybe they're going to try to use it to stop the point, but considering that they're in heaven, in spawn, as a matter of fact, I don't think we're going to see anything happen.
Yeah, you might think that they would. They did initially have YNZ on NG, but she just switched off. That's probably going to mean that, Chungoids is going to push, but they have to wait for Maleficent to spawn, although as I say that, Penguin actually just takes a ton of space with nobody else here, and Fantasy Foosball is like, wait a minute, Penguin, you're alone. They get a bunch of damage, force Penguin out early. Danmar is, of course, on spot. He's actually deciding, I'm going for the back cap. Ton of cap time, nobody is ready for it. Penguin maybe gets it, they get it at the last possible second, but because of that spy, it drew so many players back, and that's going to mean 3 down for Chungoids here. Danmar is still alive on spy as well, and finally getting Uber here, and Danmar gets a backstab to close right at the last second, but it was just too overwhelming, too many things happening that Chungoids couldn't keep track of, and that's going to be a 2-1 in favor of Fantasy Foosball, and we're only at 2 minutes left in this map until we get to the continuous overtime.
Yeah, it is. We are going to get to continuous overtime. Most likely, unless we see absolute destruction on this mid. Um, Either way, here we have this mid playing out. I want to see we haven't seen like a super aggressive mid yet so far. Both these teams really just want to play passive. Here we have the bombs coming out. This is the aggressive mid I've been wanting. Soldier in, local man down. Decided Fantasy Foosball is getting crushed in this corner as we see the soldiers actually land onto the side of Chungoids a bit, but this medic averaged a really good job surfing those rockets, and it's going to be Foosball who really felt the heat that fight. It feels like this time a lot more passive foosballs, not trying to hold second down 3. They just go straight back to last.
Yeah, I think the soldiers got like they did like their earlier bombs, they just were so unprepared to like commit with them. So then Fantasy Foosball got stuck in a corner where the other soldiers had a lot of presence. Bangwin goes in for a bomb, gets the force onto Riley. A quick counter use from Average, but Chungoids are down 2. They do get an early demo pick. And the player behind is no longer behind, but YNZ goes down. That's now down 3. Huge surf from Average, which might save his life here. He is going to be able to grab a pack. And I think Saf and Maleficent it looks like just Saf was trying to secure her med's life. She does die for it, but Maleficent and Average are going to work their way out. It's going to be about an even Uber situation here, but Maleficent had no trap set up, so Trumon and Damar just work their way in, grab a bunch of space, and Chungoids just have to leave back to second. And do I see that right? A defensive spy from Saf on the 20% Uber disad going through IT. I wonder how this is going to work.
Yeah, we are going to have to see. It looks like I don't know. I want to see a medic drop. I'm into that. I feel like those moments are always super funny. They are in IT, and it looks like they're kind of going for the scouts, if anything. But it looks like Soldiers Market Gardener. Actually, we see the Market Gardener attempt. It doesn't work, though.
Nice shot from Average.
Well, the spy decloaked, but it just got spotted. Riley down to 70 health is getting bombed by a soldier, but I don't think the force is going to happen there, unfortunately. Average does eat some spam, so there's a chance maybe for a force, but 2 down for both teams as they keep it dynamic. They keep the fight going no matter what. Foosball still in control of mid, and I don't see anything really breaking this control. Oh, a sniper.
Yeah, Saf switch decided, screw that defensive spy, I'm going to go defensive sniper this time. There's an aggressive push from Fantasy Foosball into IT, trying to take some control. They decided to not really go for anything, and there's just a bit more combo pressure this time from Fantasy Foosball in sewer. They already get through. Actually, Danmark goes in for a bomb. Average with some nice surfing, even though that soldier died really late. Local Man gets in through lower IT, gets the kill onto Saf, who was sniping, and the force comes out. Trumon does get killed. Nice 2K there from Bangman cleaning that up, but that's 3 down. Actually, excuse me, Fantasy Foosball used first. That's my bad. So it's actually a 4-on-3, and they're going to have to... Fantasy Foosball is going to get crunched here shortly by Bangwin. They didn't realize the 4-on-3, but Bangwin does not catch them out properly as Riley did get a nice surf out. Bangwin finally does clean that up, but the player ad is just too much for Fantasy Foosball. Damar does get a kill on Bangwin and somehow gets out, but... the med and demo down means Chungoids are just going to resecure this point, and of course we now are in that continuous overtime, so the first team to win 3 rounds on this map will win this map.
And we do see these players taking it in, but the bombs are coming off. Foosball is putting up a fight, but Danmar explodes, unfortunately, against the wall in the process choke point. Foosball is not deterred. They are staying in. Trumon is the next player up on deck, apparently. Pencil jumping forward. Somehow alive. I have no idea how the soldier managed to get away with that bomb. Either way, it's going to be Ben and Close who fall somehow. I don't understand how, but it does happen. Average using this Uber, running forward, chasing these players in the one door. They get the medic. Riley goes down to that lock and load by Pipe. This is a chance to take a round. Danmar is trying to block the second point cap, but these scouts, it's a chaotic fight here. Danmar is going to be the first to go down, but Local Man finds Average. That's the medic. Down for Chungoids, but Sales and Local Man also go down, and look at this. Frags going this way. There's a chance to make a run on last. Can they make it to last in time? It looks like they are trying, but the spawns coming out. 300 health soldier. Can they take the 2v1? Air shot missed. Splash rocket hit this frag. Oh, Trumon. He hits everything.
That was a really good Uber there, but I think Saf maybe going a little bit crazy. She tried to go for like the demo as well with a big flank, but put two of her teammates, I think, in harm's way. There was a bunch of crazy kills there, and it ended up just working out for Fantasy Foosball when Chungoids, I think, went a little too aggressive. It's going to be about a 60% Uber disad. We have a YNZ in sniper on forward, Saf on spy in sewer hiding up, and do I also see that right? I do see that right. Penguin has decided, let's do a third off class. We are on heavy as well. We are in for a very wild off class situation here from Chungoids. They're getting healed up. I think, oh my goodness. Okay, you know what? Fantasy Foosball just decided we're up around, we're parking the bus. I think they had one of their scouts spy check because they know that there's a spy. I don't know if they know about the sniper and heavy, and Chungoids are now in a really awkward position because they have a heavy. So this is going to be a little awkward trying to push in a second when they also have a sniper and a spy. I wonder how Chungoids is going to try to work this. I think what they're going to try to do is have Saf. Oh, it looks like they're going to try to... Okay, so YNZ is posted up long range. They're probably just going to try to use that to get potentially any free kills. And I think Chungoids Saf realizes that Fantasy Foosball knows about the spy. So Saf is probably just going to have to go for something, die, and then hope that she can respawn fast enough. Average... Do I see that right? Wait, Average switched onto Soldier, and Closed is now on Medic. And Average traded with Danmar. Saf is now behind on Bats, waiting for a distraction. What is happening?
Yeah, we do have absolute chaos on screen. We've got Sniper Spy for the other team, but they switched off, so it's only gonna be foosballs on the funny classes. Oh, I didn't... Yeah, you know, I mean, it is what it is. This is what happens when it gets into the continuous overtime, Bailey time, as we call it. Anything can happen in this time. We have the heavy... Somehow I don't understand why the Uber got forced there, I'm gonna be honest with you, but
he was like revved up in IT, and I think with Tommy Sullivan they just didn't realize. Huge major collapse here from Fantasy Foosball.
Drops! Oh my god, I am lost. But I did see what happened in IT. I don't like they did not have to use that heavy. That was like they actually just did not have to use. Either way, it's a collapse. It seems like the side of Chungoids is just like not. You know, they just fell apart. Maybe it's the playoffs nerves getting to them. The nerves got to them and they fell apart or something. We do see the cap going down. They're not going to have a single player denied. We could have seen them move faster. That is, Foosball could have capped this point faster, denied players, but they weren't able to. We do have a sniper in the forward spawn. How do you think that's going to play out?
No, they've swapped Medic again. Penguin is on Medic now. I'm so confused. What are their roles? What's happening? YNZ is still up on Sniper here. And I think the Scout swapped off of Sniper for Fantasy Foosball. So Fantasy Foosball is playing this, you know, normal expected. There is an aggressive Uber coming in from them shortly through IT. There's not really anything there to force. Actually, they do just use crazy aggressive. They're trying to get anything, but everybody is very far out. Average gets some damage. Penguin gets killed by the spam by Luecki. Closed gets the trade kill onto Luecki, but that's going to be an Uber ad, and I'm not sure what to think about what is happening here for Chungoids.
Yeah, not sure either, but we do see the Uber situation. Big advantage, huge advantage for the side of Foosball. Maybe they're just going to put it away. They seem to be ready for the moment at least. They have all of their players coming over. I don't know what door they're going to take, but they are going to have to contend with the trip-size sniper. That's probably their biggest, as long as no one loses their head to the trip-size sniper. I think everything will be okay. We do see a lot of shots ringing out. For some reason, Fantasy Foosball wants to give this sniper as many shots as possible. They give it another. The demo does not respect the sightline at all. They have peeked it so many different times. We do see the one-door push coming out. Uber in. Average goes down instantly. Mal does take down Local Man. We do have Heaven control for the side of Foosball, who is collapsing on the left side, the right side as it is. Close goes down. Danmar is causing chaos as he pushes through Heaven. Takes down Saf, who is on Medic. Ben goes down as well. And I believe that's going to be Fantasy Foosball closing this one out.
Yeah, I don't know. That was like a Medic roulette at the end, because at the end, Saf then swapped to Medic. I don't know what they were thinking there, but that's going to be 3-1 in the favor of fantasy foosball. They're going to move on to face. Excuse me. They're going to face the loser of Chief Keef versus Supra in the next match, which looks like that match is still going on. So we'll see what that happens shortly. These logs are going to be chaotic. I mean, I'm going to look at them, but I'm not sure what to think about these logs. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much we can take away from that, but I will be opening them at least.
Danmar doing a lot of damage throughout that whole map. Top the damage board. Yeah, there's so many different medic icons on the side of Chungoids. That's interesting decision there. But besides that, there ended up being 3 drops for medics for Chungoids. I don't know if those were all closed. I think, or all average. I think one of them was maybe closed, but I don't remember to be certain.
Yeah, not sure. I'm just looking like if there was any huge difference across players, and it kind of seems like across teams, not the biggest difference, but definitely among the soldier combos, like the soldiers for Chungoids were definitely struggling, but that's usually a sign of like the team is struggling. The soldiers' logs usually suffer first.
Yeah, I took a look at the combined logs, and yeah, Danmar went 49 and 36 on. Isn't Danmar on Roamer? Yeah, Danmar was on Roamer, went and top damaged and went positive. Monstrous performance from Danmar. With let me look at these heals. He only had 13% heals, and he did that. That was absolutely absurd from Danmar. Very well done. And those are in the combined logs. Sorry. Yeah. Well, it looks like that's that. It looked like it was gonna be. It was a lot closer for process, but then at the end, it looked like Fantasy Foosball finally got their stuff together. They did work it through. Got a second, or yeah, they got a second round, and then eventually just got the third round on the. I guess off the medic rouletting, I would say, but quite a crazy game, honestly. Yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us here at Fireside. Shout out to Doctor Underscore on production and everyone viewing and all the players, of course. Any shout outs from you?
Shout out to Doctor Underscore, for producing. Shout out to you, of course, for casting. Shout out to Fireside Cast. We do have a LAN coming up, the Denver cast. I can't say that enough. It's going to be the Memorial Day weekend, so it's just about 2 months away, a little under 2 months.
Yeah, that's gonna be exciting. A lot of internet. There's gonna be some, ideally there's gonna be one, maybe even 2 EU teams there, and then the best Australian team is also gonna, or Oz Fortress team is also gonna be there. So looking forward to that. But thank you all for watching tonight, and hopefully everyone has a good night. See you all later.